These are in listen-only mode.
Good evening, everyone. If you could raise your hand if you can see my screen. Great. Wonderful. I hope everybody is doing well this evening. You can go ahead and put your hands down. We will be continuing with Tinkercad today, working towards you all making your own figures. We're going to continue with the tutorials today, and then make kind of learn the steps to make the checker either on Wednesday or on Monday of next week, just depending on how far we get. As we move through these tutorials, just focusing on learning different tools and techniques to make future designs. So keep that in mind as we work through these. We're just giving people a moment to arrive here at the beginning. Hope everybody's doing well. Okay, no worries. I'm looking at some messages. Caitlin, yeah, get caught up when you can. We're not starting our checkers today. I'm glad I already have some snowmen people want to show off. Does anyone have a snowman? You can raise your hand if you want to show your snowman off to the group. No. No takers? Alright, that's okay. We'll continue learning and building. Azelle, let me know if you can hear me better now, please. And at 6:05, we'll get started on the review, kind of the next design. For now, you can go ahead and navigate to tinkercad.com and sign in. Azelle, okay, I'll message you. So go ahead, navigate to Tinkercad. This is the page that you first log into. Has the Tinkercad over in the corner. You can click it and return to this page at any point. Okay, Azelle, sorry about that. And in just a minute, we'll get started. So people talking about their snowmen, that's how we ended class on Wednesday. If you missed that, make sure that you're watching the videos and getting caught up. And we're going to continue on with some tutorials today. Alright, let's go ahead and get started. So this is the main page that you come to when you log into Tinkercad. You're going to navigate to the Learn page up here at our top menu. And we're going to be continuing with the lessons. When we get to the checker, we are going to start to learn about copying and tinkering. Right now we're just going to continue with the lessons. Though if you look around Tinkercad, there are some truly impressive models and drawings that people are making using just these tools, just combining and subtracting shapes. Got a lot of patience. And if you scroll down, oh, actually, for you all, we just finished the snowman. So we're going to get to a lesson, but the first thing we're going to do is learn about this one tool. So actually click on that Tinkercad in the upper left corner, and it'll bring you to your designs. We're going to learn how to make this name plaque that you see here, this Super Lilo. Tinkercad names your designs some funky names. Okay, so once you click this Tinkercad in the upper left corner, you can hit Create New Design. It's a blue button. Over around the middle of your screen, and your workspace should pop up, and I'll give it a minute for everybody's to load. So we're going to just start with a blank workspace, and then you're going to eventually be creating kind of like a name plaque. All right. So what we're going to do, we're learning about, well, you already saw these tools, the adjust, align tools. We're going to be working with them more, aligning our letters and making sure everything is spaced nicely. We're also going to be using the work plane again. So everybody, eyes on my screen for a moment. I'm going to start to pull out a couple letters of my name. Computer's running a little bit slowly, but let me find the U. It can be difficult to get them lined up exactly right, very quickly that is. And I'll stop with just the DUB for this example. I can click and drag to select all three letters and use the Adjust, Align tools to center my letters together. Now, remember guys, eyes on my screen. Please don't be doing this yet, because this is important. With your snowman, you used this alignment and this alignment on the side to get the body of your snowman on top of the lower body, like the legs of the snowman, and to get the head of the snowman on top of the middle body. You wanted it completely centered. For these letters, you want it so that the middle of the D is in line with the middle of the U. So you click this one here. It kind of shows that orange line halfway through each letter, and it aligns it horizontally. What you don't want is that second option that we did with the snowman. You don't want the vertical center of each letter to lay on the same line. So in that case, your D, my D, my U, and my B are all going to be on top of each other, because the vertical center of each letter would have been on top of each other. To undo what I just did, I'm going to hit the undo up here. So that was horizontally centered. What I want you all to do now is to spell your name out in these Tinkercad letters and then align them so that they're all centered. And I'm going to be doing the same thing. So you guys go ahead and try it. It is up to you. I would go ahead and just do your first name. I know it's confusing because I'm doing my last name, but it's just because you guys, call me Miss Dubik. So I would just go ahead and do your first name. As a review of the kind of movement tools or the view tools, you can use your right click to orbit, and that's kind of rotating along a point. You can use your mouse wheel to zoom in or out, and you can hold that thought, sorry. You can hold down Shift and right click to pan. Oops. My computer is not wanting to let me do that. So while you're right clicking and moving, if you wanted to shift to pan instead of to tilt. Oh goodness. You hold down your right click and your shift. My mouse was sticking, so it was both holding down the right click and the left click. Sorry about that. So right click to tilt around a point. So it's like you're on the outside of a sphere. Right click shift to pan or to move across kind of one pane, and then your mouse wheel to zoom. And if you don't have a mouse wheel, you can use the zoom up here and you can navigate that way. So take your time, try to get your letters evenly spaced and then align them. Oh, ooh, getting some responses. My name's easy because it's so short. Yeah, that's probably. Okay, so if you all are finished, what you can do, remember it's a name plaque. You saw my example. So you can, while we're kind of waiting for others in the class, you can find the diamond, the star, and the heart, which are under symbols. Or whatever symbols you want. You can make your own if you want, and you can decorate your nameplate. And it's just good practice too. Here I'm practicing scaling and rotating. I messed my rotation up. Okay. And when you are ready to move on to the next step of the nameplate tag, if you could raise your hand. Oh, it's a good idea, Caitlin. I'll do that. Caitlin says I should put the heart as the eye. know what I'm going to do? I'm going to scale down my I. And then I'm going to have a little heart. And we're going to learn more about the rotation tool in just a moment. So for this I, if I tried to center it like all the other letters, now that it's special, what I have to do is I'm going to align it vertically and then group it together so it acts just like one letter. You group with these little mountain tools, right? Remember to please raise your hand when you are ready to continue on. And again, what I'm doing right now, just as we're waiting, is I'm customizing it. Line up my dot for my I, group it together, and realign with my letters. Okay, so we'll do the best you can to catch up. You'll always have the recording, but we're spelling out our name. Once you're done spelling out your name, you can click and highlight, hit adjust, align, and we're aligning it so that the center of the letter horizontally. Imagine you're folding it hamburger style, not hot dog style. That way, that's centered. But they're all laying across the same line. They're all kind of split in half horizontally. Azelle, you are no worries. You no need to be sorry, but we will have to move on just because we got a lot to do today. So, you can always watch the webinar, and I want you to, to stay with us. So maybe just put your initials instead of your whole name, something like that. And then later you can come back. But oh, Caitlin. Caitlin also has a heart on her eye, so we match now. Okay, I'm going to put everyone's hands down. Now, if you could raise your hand if you need another minute or so on just your name, just putting your name out on the workspace. Okay? No worries. Yes, I think that's a good idea, Annika. ACB. I like it. The extras, I think, are very funny. An egg, a bunny ear, and a chicken foot. I apologize, a chick foot. All right. Okay, we are going to go ahead and move forward. Just looking at the time, it's 6:20. But you know, follow along this as best as you can, and if you do fall a little bit behind, you always have the video to go back to. So no stress here. What we are going to do now is create the plaque part. And to do that, you need to scroll up and find the cylinder, the orange cylinder, and click and drag it onto your work plane. Oh, I'm one step ahead of myself. If I want this whole name to act kind of as one unit now, what did I forget to do? Who can raise their hand and tell me what I forgot to do? Or type it in. Hey Annika, what did I forget?
You forgot to group them.
Ah, yes, thank you, Annika. I did forget to group them. I want my name now. I can just move one letter and it'll act like one unit. White? No, that's boring. Let's get some Carolina blue in here. There we go. Yes, I need to group it. Wonderful. Thank you, Annika. Okay, so we start at this as this boring cylinder, and what I want you guys to start thinking about is, you know, you have these basic geometric shapes, and you can use them to make nearly anything. And really, if you spend time looking at the Tinkercad of, you know, catalog of designs, people make incredibly intricate designs using just these basic shapes. So if you want to make sort of a plaque shape, you're going to start with something like a cylinder and transform it into what you need. Okay, so drop your plaque down to about 6 millimeters. And then you're going to resize it so it's a good size for your name. You want your name to fit in it with room a little bit for a border. You're using the white cubes for that. And that's going to be different for everyone. Annika wanted to use her initials, so that's only 3 letters, whereas I got my 6-letter name. If Caitlin's using her whole name, she's got a lot to fit in there. And as a reminder, as you know, you mess around with the color if you want to mess around with the color. The 3D printer is going to print in whatever color it has in it. So even just because this is dark teal and my lettering is light blue, the 3D printer would print it all as one color. All right. So I have this oval, this cylinder that I flattened down to 6 millimeters, and I made it this oval shape by using the resize tools. And now I'm going to take my name, which has been grouped together, and I'm going to actually, I am jumping ahead a step. What I want you guys to do is navigate your way to your helpers, and to do that you click on the little grid up here, show helper shapes, and click and drag a work plane on top of our cylinder. As a reminder from past lessons, this makes it easy to now place objects on top of wherever you put the work plane. So that could have been on the side of one of my letters, or lots of different options. Okay. And actually what we're going to do is select our cylinder, hit Command-C if you're on a Mac to copy it, or hit Control-C if you're on a PC. I'm on a Mac, so I'm going to hit Command-C. Then I'm going to click away, and I'm going to paste the shape. And since we put the work plane down, it's going to paste on top of the work plane. So either Control-V, V as in Viper, or Command V. And there we go, we have a copy of our shape. And the reason that I'm doing this, I kind of want a frame around my panel. And I don't know if you saw that from the original one. So how am I going to do that? I am going to make that copy that I made a hole. And I'm going to shrink it down. I'm going to go ahead and drag the work plane back on to make it a little bit easier to see what I'm doing here. And I'm going to use the Align tool to align my original shape and the hole. To see, oh, sorry about that, guys. To see if this framing looks okay. Alright, I'm going to check to see, is anyone lost? Yeah, not the Tar Heels. Oh, Anna. My heart. Okay, I pressed Control C, but nothing happened. Nothing will happen right away, but now you can hit Control V and paste the shape. 7 darn letters. That's right, Caitlin. You'd be proud of those letters. Okay, so I copied the shape. I have the hole on top, and I used my Align tools to center it, and I say that this framing looks pretty good. So my next step is to I'm going to shrink this down, say 2 millimeters, and then I'm going to move it so it's right at the surface of my shape. Then when I group my shape together, the hole in the shape, I have this wonderful hole left behind. No, Caitlin, V, like viper. Control Z is going to undo what you did before. Z like zebra. Is an undo, which is nice. It's very handy. Command V, like viper or vase, Vaseline. I had trouble thinking of a V word there for a minute. That is going to help you paste. No worries. I'll give everybody a chance to work on this. Raise your hand if you need me to show you how I did that again. I can do that. I'm going to undo a few steps and then... No worries, guys. I'm going to reshow. Okay. Is this far enough back? The original shape. Raise your hand if this is not far enough back. Okay, good. Wonderful. So we have our original shape, and I'm going to make a copy of this shape, but instead of having the copy be side by side, which if I Command C as in cat, and then Command V, or V as in vase, they're side by side. I don't want that. I want it to be on top. So the way that I do that is I drag the work plane on top of the original shape. Again, if you're on a PC, it's Control C and Control V. Oh. What do you know? In Tinkercad, if you're on a Mac, Control V also works. So from now on, I'm just going to refer to it as Control C and Control V just to save confusion. Okay. So I have my copy shape, and instead of wanting this to be a solid object, I want like a frame that's going to stick out of my shape. And to do that, I'm going to make a hole and make this hole slightly smaller than the original shape. And from there, I'm going to kind of sink it into my original shape so that it looks like I have that 3D frame. Okay. So next step is to make the hole a little bit smaller. To do that, I grab one of the corners and I hold down Shift. This means it's a uniform scale. This means I'm keeping the shape. We did this in Scratch. It would keep a square a square instead of letting it become a rectangle. So once I have the slightly smaller hole, I'm going to align them so that they're centered vertically and horizontally. And then I'm going to return to my original work plane. I'll do that in a moment. I'll let people finish doing the step. I'm reading some people's responses. If you're not on a Mac, you just do Control-C and Control-V. So how do you make the 3D thing again? The corner shape. This is the copy, and I just clicked hole instead of color. Originally it was color, and now it's a hole. And to make it smaller, I click on the white square in the corner, and I hold Shift down on the keyboard while I pull that square in. That makes it smaller. Once I have my two shapes, I select both of them, and I align them so that they are centered. The alignment tool is new to Tinkercad, and it is so nice. Oh man, I love Tinkercad added that. Okay, it's kind of annoying to see this yellow work plane over my work, so I'm going to grab the work plane from helpers and just drag it anywhere not on a shape, and it will return to the original work plane. Alright, the next step is I want this to be a hole. I want this hole to dig into my shape. Now before I had them aligning up, but actually all you have to do is use this little cone and push down however deep you want the hole to be. So I'm saying -2 millimeters. That means this hole that this is making, where this hole shape intersects this solid shape, when I group them together, it's just going to look like that whole, someone almost carved out a whole section of the shape. So now there's going to be a 2 millimeter hole in there. And it's okay that it wasn't smooth and flat, because once I group them together, you can no longer see the hole. All I have to do is ungroup so that I can see it and adjust it again. But once I group it together, you can't see the hole. So it's okay if it's not perfect. Okay, the next step is to put your name onto the shape. And there are many ways to do this. It may seem like the easiest one is just to lift your shape and move it and send it down again. I, however, am a big fan of work planes. I think they make your life a lot easier. So what I'm going to do instead is click and drag a work plane onto the flat part of my sign area. Notice how the rim, the frame, is above the work plane because I want the name down under the rim here. I'm going to click my name and then Control C to copy. And then I'm going to Control Paste. And it's pasted on my work plane area. It actually pastes wherever your mouse is. I think. Let me see. Make sure that I'm telling the truth here. I am not. Do not listen to me. Maybe it's wherever you last pasted or where you dropped the work plane. But since my work plane is flat, it's going to paste it on top of the work plane and not down on the same level as the flat bottom of my plaque. Then, of course, I align. And I have my beautiful shape. Could delete my original duplicate. Look at that. Ready to designate my desk. I'm gonna ungroup this. My eye looks a little. And once you're happy with your final project, you can, of course, group the whole thing together. Okay, Annika has a question. Hey, Annika, what's your question?
I'm just a little confused because when I copy and pasted, my little name, it went under my little plaque.
Okay. It went under your plaque?
Yes.
Okay.
Like half of it is under.
Okay. Did you add a work plane to the flat bottom of your plaque?
I think so.
Okay. Let's try one more time. So hit Command Z to hit undo up here to undo it, so that your name is again flat. And I'll do the same on my screen. Oops. I'll at least drag mine off. So it was like this, Annika, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. What you need to do is take the work plane and drag it so that it's at the center of your shape.
Okay.
At the center of it, in the middle, actually physically on it, okay? And does the rim of your shape above the work plane?
No.
Okay. Can I see your screen? Okay. Okay, Annika, I am going to... do you see up in the corner there where it says give keyboard and mouse?
Yes.
Can you give me, it'll say Tom Dubik, the mouse? Just to let you know, that means I'll be able to control your mouse from my computer. Okay. Okay, so now it has kind of more of a distinct rim. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay, and the way I did that is I just pushed the hole down further. Okay, and then now what I'm going to do, I'm going to make sure this is copied. And then, is this what you did before? You just dragged it into the middle of your shape and you let go?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I'm not quite sure. Of course it works when the teacher looks at it, but does this all look like what you were doing before?
Yes.
Okay, it's working now. Do you have any questions?
No.
Okay, I'm going to want you to undo what I just did, so I'm going to undo it so that you can get a chance to do it yourself, okay?
Alright.
You're very welcome, thank you. Okay, and then someone else had a question. Whenever I sink my hole or put the word on the plaque, it just hides under the plaque part. I think that, Holly, that's because you're, well, I don't know about the sink my hole thing. Holly, do you mind if I see yours? Can you raise your hand if I can see your screen? Please? Okay. Well, if not, then Holly, what I would recommend, I think what the issue might be is that you might not have sunk the hole down enough. So I think that may have been what Annika's problem was. So make sure, see how mine, here it is kind of sitting on top of my shape. I actually sink it into my shape so that when they're grouped together, I can visibly see that there is a rim. And let me show you, Holly, the other way to put this shape onto this. My way is to take the work plane and drop it in the center of the plaque, not up on the rim, in the center of the plaque, so that the rim is above the workspace. Then I can paste my shape and it will automatically go into my shape here. The other way, if that's just not working for you, would be to move your shape up and over, and then just very carefully move it down till you start to see your letters sink into your shape, and then change your view to make sure that your letters aren't just floating over the plaque. Then again, you got to align and then group them together. Okay, Holly, that makes sense. No worries. All right, raise your hand if you still need a minute for this. Okay. Okay, that's fine. I am probably in the next 2 minutes going to have to move on to the next lesson. But if you want to keep working on this one, if you're not done in 2 minutes, again, no stress. You can keep working on the plaque and then just watch the last 15 minutes of the recorded webinar. But I do want you guys to start the Minecraft party classes today. Okay. So maybe you guys like stories set in the past where people write on parchment, and when they go to send their letters that they just wrote with a quill, they take wax, right, and they press their family's crest or their sigil into the wax. Well, if you look at what their family's sigil or their name, what is actually pressing it into the wax, the letters are reversed, kind of like a stamp. The letters are reversed so that when they're pressed into the wax, they will read the right way. In Tinkercad, if you wanted to print out something that you could press into wax and your name would be read the right way, it's a very easy way to do that. And I'm just kind of showing you guys this as we're waiting. You can hit adjust and then mirror, and this is going to flip your drawing whichever way, either make it upside down, flip it upside down, or, and I think this is interesting, mirror it. So if you hit the adjust mirror and hit the kind of the horizontal one, now you've made it so that you could press your name into wax or hold it up to a mirror and read it the correct way. Yeah, Mira, if you want to show your snowman, absolutely. Do you want to do that now? This is the last of the nameplate. You're done with your nameplate now. Hooray, rejoice. Yes, Holly wants to point out that if you click multicolor, it will let you preserve your multiple colors, which is very neat. However, misleading if you're going to 3D print it, because You won't be able to 3D print it in multiple colors on our 3D printers. Some 3D printers you can, which is so cool. But thank you, Holly. All right, Mira's getting hers. Mira, raise your hand when you're ready. Oh wow, Mira's on top of it. All right, let's do this. Oh my gosh! This is awesome. Let me make sure and unmute you. Oh, you're unmuted. Wow!
Thank you.
Can you turn it around so we can see their hair? Wow! This is incredible. How long did you spend on this, Mira?
Just a little while. It wasn't that hard. I copied the top parts of their bodies and just made them smaller.
Oh, yeah. Wow. I am very impressed. I like the rock wall.
It was under the shape generators.
Oh, okay, yeah. This is great. I like his little crown too. And the belt. The belt, I didn't notice that at first. It's a very cool detail.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, Mira. Let me go ahead and grab the screen back. Does anyone have... Does anyone else have a snowman they want to share, or a name plaque that they did something special to that they want to share? Yes, Anna, get yours ready. And oh, Holly says, that's amazing. Mara says, that's a good snowman. I agree. Anna, if you want to, just raise your hand when you have yours ready. Oh, Anna Holmes. Yes, and then Anna Windsor. Raise your hand when you have yours ready. It looks like we're not going to get to the Minecraft classes, but that's okay. I want you guys to share your work. Oh, I like your diamonds too. It looks, from when I first saw it, it looks Abraham Lincoln inspired. Can't tell. Has it fully loaded? I think so. I think it might be a combination of our computers making this run. So there we go.
No.
No? Yeah. Great. I love that hat. The height of it is just perfect. Very nice. I enjoy it a lot. Thank you for sharing it off. I'm going to go ahead and switch it over. And, oh my gosh!
There's a
huge nose.
It is a huge nose. It's very accurate.
Your nose is so big.
Is that an intentional design? Are you like the Picasso of our snowman generation?
I do not know.
Well,
I
I'm
didn't know it was
enjoying it a
kind of
lot.
an accident, but I thought it was funny.
I agree. It was a good accident. I like his eyes too. It kind of looks like he's been out in the sun a little too long. Got him melting down there. All right, thank you for sharing.
You're lucky, Grace.
Okay, let's see. Oh, good, Holly. Good, I'm glad. Okay, we got 4 minutes. So what I'm going to do is introduce the next challenge. You may not have enough time to work on this before Wednesday, but maybe before next Monday. The next challenge is for you all to make a sea creature. Any kind of sea creature, be it a shell, like a clam, or what I'm working on here is a crab. But you could start with something as easy as a fish. I just want you guys to work on how can you use shapes, kind of these basic shapes, and the tools that we know. How can you use this stuff to create something that we have in our minds? And I think that snowman family was a really good example. Everybody's snowman was. But. All right. Trying to make my fish a little flatter here. So the reason that we're doing fish and not just animal is that, in my opinion, fish, sea creatures, octopus, squid, it's just going to be a little bit easier. It grants us a little bit more flexibility. But also, it limits the imagination a little bit, since it can be hard to start with the option of doing absolutely anything. Clearly, I'm not very good at what the shape of a fish is. And again, practice with your align tools, etc. Fish, crab, squid, clam. Try out what you can and be ready to share it with us either on Wednesday or on Monday. And you can share it on Edmodo if you would like. And it's looking like Monday is when we're probably going to start our checkers, since we didn't get quite as far as expected today. All right, any questions? Does everyone know how to make their own shape? Where on the site they can go to do that? I can show everybody real fast. You click the Tinkercad, and then you see all designs, you hit create new design. All right, everyone, have a wonderful evening, and I will see you all on Wednesday.